Hey there, it's Dylan from RadRank, and today we're going to look at a new SEO problem for Squarespace that's affecting pretty much every Squarespace site we've looked at. We're going to fix it with Google Tag Manager, and we even have a bonus fix for another annoying problem on Squarespace. Check out the rest of the video. All right, as you can see from the post, Squarespace's update where they're including these new tag pages has resulted in quite a few being indexed, and we're looking at a fistful of bolts right now. They have only roughly 58 or so indexed, but I've seen a few of the client sites that we've looked at and other sites with hundreds, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 500 different tag pages all of a sudden, which has led to a sharp decrease in organic traffic. So we're going to fix that with Tag Manager. And the first thing you need to do is when you sign up for Google Tag Manager, they give you 2 snippets of code. And we have a screenshot in the blog post. And you need to do code injection, which is on the business accounts with Squarespace. So you hit settings, and you go to advanced, and then you hit code injection. And this is where the first code snippet goes in the header. And on the second one, Google tells you to put it in the body, right after the body tag, but you're unable to do that with Squarespace. And so you just put it right here at the top of the footer. And they have a secondary code snippet here for some lazy loading, but this right here is the Google Tag Manager snippet, and that gives you the full power of Google Tag Manager. After you've done that, you need to create a tag. And so you hit new. We're going to title this tag no index. And for the tag configuration, we're going to go to custom HTML, and then just grab the code snippet from the blog post and paste it right here. And because it's a JavaScript inside of HTML, it has to have these script tags. And pretty much what this is doing, it's saying select the head, and then to the end of it, add a new meta tag, which is named robots, and the content of that is no index. And so that tells every search engine that honors these, which is pretty much all of them, that you do not want this page in the Google index. After you've done that, you need to trigger it. And this is where Google Tag Manager is super useful, because you can create these different tags, and then you can set up custom rules on what pages you want that to be triggered on. So we'll go up here to the plus sign. We're going to call this trigger new tag pages. Go to configuration, and I like to use window loaded, and then some window loaded events. And I'm going to say when the page path contains tag. And so this will get rid of all of the Squarespace's new tag pages, but unless you have another page that has this exact tag with the forward slashes just before and just after in any of your URLs, then no other pages will be affected. So we hit save here. And so now we have this no index tag. We have the tag filled out, and we have a trigger. So we can hit save. Next, you hit preview. And once this preview is refreshed, you can go to the website. So we're going to go to fistfulofbolts.com, and this preview window will pop up. And this is super great for diagnosing if your tag's firing or if it's not firing, and on which pages it's working. And so the fear that you have with a no index tag is that you're injecting it onto a page that's important. And so I want to make sure when I'm on the home page that that no index did not fire. And so I'll just click around the site, watching that pop up, making sure that it's not firing. Perfect. Now I'll go back to these results, and we have these tag pages here. And so I will click on one, and you'll see that it fired, which is perfect. So this no index tag has fired on the tag page. And so it's only affecting this tag archive. The actual page is not affected. We can check that here. So like this blog post, not affected, because you want this lost and found films to rank on its own. You don't want that content to be ranking under the tag analog film. And let's look at this real fast. So this is a browser extension called Open SEO Stats. And this shows you what is the page title, which right here it just says Journal, Seattle Photographers, A Fistful of Bolts. And this is the title of their blog. And Squarespace didn't add any logic to the titles of these new tag pages. On WordPress or other platforms, it would probably say like Analog Film, A Fistful of Bolts, or Analog Film Tag Archives, Fistful of Bolts. So like this is just pretty janky. The meta description the same. This is the exact same meta description of their blog. And then here we see that the meta robots is no index. So that's perfect. We're seeing that tag is working. The final thing that you can do is go into Google Tag Manager. All right, we're in Tag Manager now. We're going to look at this analog film tag. We're going to do a URL inspection. And so currently it's live. We're going to hit request indexing. And this takes a couple minutes. So while it's doing this, I wanted to mention another issue that Squarespace often has, and that is called the built-in domain. So if you have a Squarespace site, every Squarespace site is given its own built-in domain, and it's usually random or your username .squarespace.com. So if you do a site search for that, you're going to see that practically every page on the website is duplicated under this Squarespace subdomain, which is not good. It's not like the biggest issue in the world, but it's something that affects every Squarespace site more and more, and their documentation to remove it is not the best route, I believe. They want you to go perform a temporary removal in Search Console, but using that same no index tag, we can wipe it out using Google Tag Manager. Awesome. So this is the test result from that tag page. We can hit View Live Test. It's going to test it one more time. Awesome. It's going to say that this URL is not available to Google and that the URL would only be indexed if certain conditions are met, but this one won't because a no index tag is detected. So we did our job, and it's going to take maybe a couple of weeks, but all of these tag pages are going to fall out of the index, and then you're going to see the search results start to go back on the upload rise. Okay, so back to the built-in domain. This is a little bonus tip, not affected or not related to the tag pages, but using the same exact technique, you can wipe out those 800 duplicate Squarespace pages. So we're going to keep the same tag, so we're going to click on no index, and we're going to go down to trigger. And we're going to hit this pencil. We're going to add a second trigger, and we're going to call it built-in pages. The page. We're going to hit choose the trigger type to begin setup. We're going to do window loaded again, some window loaded events. On this one, we're going to do page URL contains squarespace.com, and this works for every built-in domain, or built-in domain across every Squarespace account. All right, hit save. Cool, so now we submit and hit publish. And I like to leave a description. This description will be no index. No index tag pages and built-in domain. Cool. Those notes are really handy if you ever can't really remember, like, what day did you fix something? What did you fix? You can look back over your analytics and see, like, hey, what happened here on April 9th, and then you can check Tag Manager, and it says, I no indexed all my pages. That's why my rankings improved. Okay, so now that we have that Squarespace domain no index, we can check it as well using the same process. So I'm opening up this Wenatchee. I'm logged into Squarespace, so it's going to be a little different. It's showing it inside this iframe, but it shows no index fired. And so you just want to keep watch on that, maybe continue to do this search every few weeks and just watch those fall out of the index. So that's it. We installed Google Tag Manager on Squarespace. We created a tag that no indexes content, and we triggered it on the new tag pages, and then we had the bonus tip to no index the built-in domain. I hope that was easy, and good luck.